The awakening. The stars looked different from the surface of an alien moon. Ethan Cole's first sensation wasn't pain, though his body had certainly been through hell. It was warmth. Soft, pulsing warmth, as if the air itself was alive with a gentle current. A subtle golden glow bled through his closed eyelids, and slowly, painfully, he blinked them open. He was no longer aboard the Meridian. Instead, he lay on a pliant, living surface, in a chamber shaped from organic material that shimmered in bioluminescent hues. Crystalline growths emitted a soft amber light. The walls pulsed gently, like a heartbeat. Nothing about it felt human. Or familiar. His muscles protested as he tried to move, pain lancing through his side. Then he saw her. A figure leaned over him. Humanoid, feminine, and utterly unlike anything he'd ever seen. Her skin shimmered with an inner glow like moonlight beneath water, her facial features elegantly alien, larger, silver-flecked eyes, delicate nose, and lips the color of dusk. Her hair, if it could be called that, flowed like liquid silver and shifted subtly with an unseen breeze. He should have panicked. But something in her gaze disarmed him. An intelligence. A sadness. And, he couldn't explain it, a strange familiarity. She said something in a melodious language that danced like wind chimes. He didn't understand the words, but the tone made his heartbeat slow. Then, without warning, she leaned in and kissed him. Ethan's mind exploded with light. Not physical light, but emotional resonance, images, feelings, impressions flooding his consciousness. Relief. Joy. Profound sorrow. It was as if her soul had reached out and wrapped around his own. When she pulled back, he gasped. The ache in his chest had lessened. More than that, he could feel her. Not in a telepathic way, exactly, but a deep emotional presence now coiled gently around his mind. Who are you?" he rasped. She touched her chest, her voice whispering in his mind more than through sound, "Kira." Her name was Kira. She helped him sit up, her touch radiating warmth. The bed beneath him adjusted to his movement. Everything here felt alive. Grown, not built. "Where am I?" She didn't answer in words, but he understood, his ship had crashed on this moon. This was her people's outpost. She had found him among the wreckage. Barely alive. The others? A pause. Her expression shifted. Sorrow. Through their bond, he saw it, twisted metal, fire, bodies. She had searched. Desperately. He was the only one left. He turned his face away, grief stabbing through his chest like cold metal. But she reached out, placed her fingers over his heart, and let him feel her understanding. She had lost too. As hours passed, if they were hours, Ethan learned more about Kira. She was a healer. A diplomat posted far from the Vidian homeworld. Their society was built around emotional resonance. Touch and empathy were not just virtues, they were language. Her people had learned long ago that emotions, shared and refined, could lead to harmony, or devastation. They had once opened themselves to an alien alliance. It ended in betrayal and the collapse of their empathic network. Since then, they had retreated. Isolated themselves. And yet, Kira had reached out. To him. The bond they shared was not typical. It was forged in desperation. Accidental. Unprecedented. And, perhaps, irreversible. On the third day, he was strong enough to walk. Kira guided him through the inner sanctum of her outpost, a place of glowing vines, singing crystals, and pools that shimmered like galaxies. Every surface hummed with the harmony of life. "Your people," he asked, standing near a wall of pulsing light, "will they come for you?" She hesitated. In his mind, not yet. Not unless. They sensed danger. Or contamination. Contamination. She gently touched his temple. showed him memories. Flashes of past interspecies bonds that went wrong. Empathic ruptures. Entire networks collapsing. Madness. And us? Her fingers trembled. Her eyes flickered with hues he didn't understand. Unknown. And still, she stayed by his side. That night, she slept beside him. Or rested, he wasn't sure if visions dreamed. He did. And in his dream, he saw her hands reaching for him across stars. When he woke, she was already watching. This shouldn't be possible, Ethan whispered. She nodded. Then kissed him again. And this time, he kissed her back. Cultural fracture. When Ethan woke again, the soft bioluminescence of the healing chamber had shifted hues, from amber to a pale blue-green that suggested early morning. Kira sat cross-legged nearby, eyes closed, her breathing slow and deliberate. The light across her skin pulsed gently, as though in time with his own heart. Ethan watched her in silence, studying the way her body seemed to exist in harmony with the chamber around her. It was more than just beauty, it was serenity made physical. And it stirred something deeper within him than he could explain. "You're awake," her voice chimed in his mind before she opened her eyes. "Yeah," he said softly. "Barely. But yeah." Kira smiled, then reached for him, her fingers brushing along the scar across his ribcage. With the lightest touch, she conjured calm and clarity. "You said your people are cautious. That they don't like outsiders. That they fear bonds." She nodded. The sadness returned. "But this, us. Whatever this is, it's not going away." "No," she sent through their connection. "It grows. Like roots beneath stone." He took her hand, threading their fingers together. "Then what happens when they find out?" Kira closed her eyes, and the chamber dimmed slightly with her sorrow. Before she could answer, the living walls of the chamber pulsed. A presence approached, foreign, but familiar. Kira rose instantly. She didn't speak, but the bond between them buzzed with apprehension. Ethan stood as well, though his legs ached. Footsteps echoed in the corridor outside. Then the entrance curved open like a blossoming petal. An elder entered. Unlike Kira, whose skin glowed like liquid pearl, this Vidian was older, his bioluminescence dimmed into shades of blue-silver. His posture was regal but weary. His name, though unspoken, reached Ethan the moment their eyes met. "Elder Thni." Kira lowered her head respectfully, but her stance remained tense. Elder Thni stepped into the chamber and immediately acknowledged Ethan. His gaze was piercing, analyzing, empathic, and devoid of judgment. At first, he spoke in the musical cadence of the Vidian tongue. Kira responded, her words a bit sharper than usual. "He says it's too soon," she translated quietly. "That I overstepped my mandate by forging a bond. That the council must be notified." Ethan didn't flinch. "Tell him it wasn't intentional. We didn't know." She hesitated, then spoke again. The elder's brow furrowed. He stepped forward and extended a hand toward Ethan. Kira intervened, but Thni's fingers gently touched Ethan's forehead. A wave of sensation rushed through him. For a moment, Ethan was a child in a crystal city under violet skies. Then a student, discovering emotion through symphonic thought. Then, grief. Terrible, echoing grief as fire consumed a great hall of minds. A memory. A warning. Elder Thni withdrew, trembling. His voice, when it came, was layered with emotion. Kira translated, "He says our bond is real. Far deeper than any human Vidian resonance on record. And that it is, dangerous." Ethan frowned. "We don't feel dangerous. To each other?" "No," she said softly, "but to the network?" "Yes. If we're not careful." Elder Thni turned to Kira. He said more, slower this time. Kira's posture shifted from defensive to defiant. He wants me to sever the bond. Ethan's stomach twisted. Can you? Kira met his eyes. Yes. But it would leave us both broken. Then no, absolutely not. The elder studied them. His light pulsed dimly. Finally, he nodded slowly and turned to leave. His last glance held a warning, gentle, but unyielding. What now? Ethan asked as the chamber sealed behind me. We wait, Kira whispered. For the council. In the days that followed, their sanctuary changed. The once harmonious chamber began to dim at odd hours. The ambient music of the crystals developed dissonant tones. Kira's expression grew more withdrawn. Not from him, but from the weight pressing down on her. They're watching us, aren't they? Kira nodded. They always were. On the 6th day, Ethan found her weeping in the water garden. Tears shimmered like starlight on her cheeks. I thought I could be both, she said. A healer. A diplomat. A seeker of harmony. But maybe I was just selfish. He knelt beside her. You saved my life. You've helped me grieve. Helped me feel whole again. That's not selfish. It may cost everything. He took her face in his hands. Then we faced the cost together. The next morning, the chamber bloomed open once more. But this time, it was not a visitor. It was a summons. Love and resistance. Ethan stood at the threshold of the chamber, heart pounding as Kira clasped his hand. The summons from the Vidian Council wasn't just a meeting, it was a reckoning. Their bond had sparked whispers among the empathic networks, and soon, those whispers would become judgment. They will try to make us feel ashamed, Kira said, her voice quiet but steady as they moved through the corridor of living crystal. But I am not. Not of you. Not of us. Then we go in together, Ethan replied, unapologetic. The council chamber was unlike any place Ethan had ever seen. A wide, domed expanse where walls of crystalline lattice vibrated with emotion, literally. The atmosphere was thick with empathic presence. At the far end stood 3 figures, taller and older than Kira, their bioluminescence muted into somber tones. At the center of them was Elder Cyrox, whose skin bore deep violet-blue hues and whose presence resonated like a heavy chord. Kira slowed her pace as they approached. Without words, the council addressed them. Feelings swept over Ethan, concern, curiosity, dread, and something sharper, fear. Elder Cyrox spoke. Kira translated in whispers. The bond you formed is a danger. An anomaly not meant to exist. Our network has sensed its imbalance. Ethan didn't flinch. It's not imbalance. It's evolution. You're afraid because it's new. Cyrox's voice deepened. New can mean unstable. Unstable means collapse. Our people cannot survive another empathic breach. Kira stepped forward, but we've been careful. We've controlled our resonance. There have been no ruptures. Elder Nail, the youngest of the council, whose eyes flickered with soft empathy, added gently, you may feel in control. But the danger isn't you alone, it's what comes after. Precedent. Chaos. Pain. Ethan felt his anger rise. You'd rather break 2 hearts than risk change. Is that the kind of peace you stand for? The council rippled with tension. Cyrox stepped down from the dais, approaching them slowly. His eyes locked on Ethan's. You are not Vidian, he said aloud in thick-accented English. You cannot understand what we've lost. Ethan met his gaze. But I understand love. And if your people have truly turned their back on that, then maybe it's not me who doesn't understand. Kira reached for Ethan's hand. When they touched, the room pulsed. A sudden resonance burst through the chamber like a shockwave. Emotion, raw, unfiltered, overwhelming, flooded the crystalline walls. The empathic network surrounding the council chamber was reacting to their bond. Not with chaos, but clarity. Peace. Harmony. Kira gasped. It's stabilizing. It's synchronizing with us. Elder Nail fell to one knee, stunned. Cyrox's composure faltered. The network, built on emotional feedback, was adjusting to the presence of something unprecedented. Not contamination. Not threat. But integration. This changes everything, Nail whispered. Cyrox turned to the others. If they can remain in harmony, perhaps this bond is not the corruption we feared. But his words held no certainty. Just the beginning of doubt. That night, Kira and Ethan returned to the healing chamber. The council had not yet decided. They would deliberate. Vote. Possibly act in secret. But something had shifted. They lay together beneath the glowing canopy of the sanctuary. Neither spoke for a long time. Then Ethan broke the silence. Do you remember the moment you kissed me? She smiled, fingers tracing his jawline. You were dying. And yet, you felt more alive than anything I had ever known. He pulled her close, his body pressing into hers. Show me how your people love. Again. And she did. This time, their bond opened wider than before. As they moved together, emotions cascaded between them, joy, fear, awe, longing. Memories from each other's lives swirled and mingled. Kira's first song in the empathic halls. Ethan's childhood under Earth's stormy skies. They weren't just sharing love. They were becoming something new. A hybrid mind. As their bodies joined, so did their thoughts, harmonizing in a feedback loop of euphoric clarity. Each kiss deepened their fusion. Their hearts beat in sync. The crystalline structure of the chamber began to respond to them, not as patient and healer, not as human and alien, but as one being made of two souls. Kira shuddered in his arms. I feel us expanding. More than just minds. More than lovers. Ethan whispered, awestruck. A new consciousness. Their union was not a loss of individuality. It was an elevation of both identities into a shared existence. Vidian and human. Diplomat and explorer. Kira and Ethan. In the aftermath, wrapped in the soft hush of post-resonance glow, Kira said the words that changed everything. The council will never allow us to stay. Not like this. We've proven their fears and hopes in the same breath. Ethan looked toward the ceiling, where the light swirled gently above them. Then we stop waiting for permission. We make a new choice. She met his gaze. We run. Exile and escape. The next morning, the crystalline walls of the chamber pulsed a solemn gray. The air hung heavier, as if the sanctuary itself knew what was coming. Kira and Ethan sat side by side on the edge of the pool, their legs submerged in the soft, glowing liquid. They'll send enforcers, Kira said, her voice a whisper drowned by silence. Not to harm us. But to separate us. Ethan tightened his grip on her hand. We can't let them. Kira looked toward the entrance. Eldogni once told me that love is both a cure and a contagion. It spreads through barriers. Even fear. As if summoned, the elder appeared at the chamber's threshold. This time, he came alone. His expression was different, less resigned, more resolved. You felt what we've become, Ethan said, rising. Vni nodded. Yes. And others have, too. Kira stepped forward. Will they let us be? No, the vote is cast. You are to be taken to the purification sanctum before the sun reaches its zenith. Ethan is to be handed over to his people with his memories of you, removed. The word struck like a blow. Ethan took a step back, anger and grief welling inside, but, Vni continued, his bioluminescence flickering with unease, not everyone agrees with this path. Not everyone believes your bond is poison. Some of us think it is hope. Kira's breath caught. Then help us. Please. The elder reached inside his robes and retrieved a smooth, oval-shaped device that pulsed faintly. This will open a path to the outer ranges, deep in the untuned territories. The network is weak there. They won't sense your emotions as strongly. You'd risk exile for us? Ethan asked. I already am, Ni said. The moment I chose to feel your resonance. He turned to leave, then paused. Run. Before I'm forced to regret this. As the chamber door closed, Kira grabbed Ethan's hand. Follow me. Quickly. They fled through corridors of living stone and tunnels laced with song crystals. The deeper they went, the less organized everything became. The polished elegance of Vidian society gave way to raw, unshaped emotion in physical form, veins of chaotic light, pools of discordant melody. The further we go, Kira warned, the less the empathic net will protect us. It'll be just us. No guidance. Good, Ethan said. Let's make our own path. Behind them, the first signs of pursuit echoed through the network, a distant tremor of alarm, followed by an unnatural silence. The enforcers were coming. By dusk, they emerged onto a plateau. Above them stretched a sky of swirling auroras, the stars sharper than Ethan had ever seen. Kira collapsed to her knees, trembling. Too far. The resonance, it's fading. I can't feel the network anymore. Ethan held her, cradling her body against his chest. You're not alone. We have each other. I've never felt disconnected, she whispered. It's like losing a sense. A limb. He pressed his forehead to hers. Then share mine. I'll carry us both. Together, they moved through the wild. Strange beasts of song and shadow lingered in the distance, watching with eyes like polished glass. Ethan made a fire using his emergency pack, and they camped under the stars, curled into each other, surrounded by unfamiliar sounds. This place, Kira murmured, is where the dissidents go. The ones who believe empathy isn't just a shield, it's a bridge. Do you think they'll find us? Maybe. But not tonight. On the third night of their escape, the pursuers found them. It happened while they slept. A wave of empathic pressure struck them like a physical blow. Ethan woke coughing, blood pounding in his ears. Kira screamed beside him, her body convulsing as the network tried to forcibly sever the bond. 3 figures approached from the shadows, enforcers cloaked in obsidian veils. Their presence warped the air. They didn't speak. They didn't need to. Kira clutched Ethan's arm. They're going to tear us apart. No, Ethan said, eyes blazing. We do this on our terms. He touched her face. Kissed her deeply. And with the last of his strength, opened his mind. Not just to her. To the world. A flood of memories poured through the bond, the crash, the kiss, the healing, the laughter, the union. Waves of pure, unfiltered emotion. The enforcers staggered. Their empathic filters overloaded. Kira felt it too. The surge. The burn of becoming more. She reached into the shared reservoir of memory and feeling and gave herself to it fully. Together, they unleashed the full force of their bond. The plateau lit up with light. Crystalline trees hummed. The ground trembled. The stars themselves seemed to bend closer. The enforcers fell to their knees, overwhelmed by resonance. Their devices shorted. One screamed, another wept. Kira's voice echoed across the plains. We are not corruption. We are convergence. The world went still. When the light faded, the enforcers were gone, vanished into the night. Defeated not by violence, but by the overwhelming truth of shared emotion. Ethan and Kira collapsed into each other's arms, their bond now glowing visibly in the air between them, a tether of light that pulsed like a heartbeat. We can't go back, she whispered. Then we go forward. New dawn. The sky turned lavender as morning crept over the horizon of the alien moon. Ethan and Kira lay beneath a canopy of crystalline leaves, their bodies bruised but their souls alight with something new. The bond that tethered them, once invisible, now shimmered softly between them, a constant pulse of shared feeling. No more hiding. No more waiting. The decision had been made. There's no turning back, Kira whispered, her voice stronger than it had been in days. We've torn the veil. They'll never see us the same again. Ethan stroked a hand down her back, watching the soft ripples of bioluminescent light respond to his touch. Then let's not waste this gift. If we're exiles now, let's be exiles with purpose. From the edge of the clearing, movement stirred. 3 figures emerged from the forest, not enforcers, but visions. Unmarked. Unrobed. Their lights flickered with mixed emotion. The first stepped forward, her skin a delicate hue of violet gray. She bowed low. I am Tellera, she said aloud in halting English. I lead the enclave of the broken chord. We felt your resonance. The awakening. Kira sat up slowly. You knew we were coming. Not you. But something. A change. A rebalancing. Many of us were cast out for dreaming of unity. Your bond confirmed what we always suspected, empathy doesn't have to be fragile. It can evolve. Tellera extended a hand. Come with us. Share your knowledge. Teach us what you've become. Ethan and Kira exchanged a glance. For the first time in weeks, hope flickered in Ethan's chest like a campfire refusing to die. The enclave was unlike any place Kira had known. Here, visions lived not in strict harmony but in curious tension. Emotional diversity was embraced. Dissonance was considered growth. Human artifacts lay side by side with Vidian crystal lore. Ethan found himself teaching old Earth songs to children whose laughter shaped light. Kira led workshops on hybrid resonance. She and Ethan demonstrated how controlled intimacy could deepen bonds without destabilizing the network. Rumors began to spread. More outcasts came. A few sympathizers from the Central Council defected. Others sent spies. Some sent warnings. But the enclave endured. One evening, as twin moons hung low in the sky, Kira and Ethan stood atop a singing stone ridge, looking down at the valley of glowing homes and strange, vibrant life below. I used to think diplomacy was about words, Kira said. But it was always about connection. Ethan kissed her temple. Then maybe we're not exiles after all. Maybe we're ambassadors to a future no one saw coming. She turned to face him. You've changed me. You've saved me. They kissed, slow and deep. The bond between them pulsed outward, bathing the ridge in soft waves of light. In that moment, they weren't just a human and an alien. They were a union of worlds. Of minds. Of love that refused to be erased. A year later, a transmission left the moon. It was a message to Earth, encoded in empathic pattern and human language. It read. We are Kira of Vidian and Ethan Cole of Earth. We are bonded not by accident, but by fate. Our love did not break us. It forged something new. Empathy is not weakness. Love is not contamination. We are the first. But not the last. The council never responded. But the stars did. New voices joined the song. Scattered hearts began to listen. And deep within the forgotten moon, under a sky of eternal dusk, 2 lovers continued to shape a future the universe could no longer deny. The end.